Welcome everyone. Happy New Year. Thank you for coming. And a cold night. Well, not so cold, right? Windy. Some of you I don't know, so I'm gonna generalize the speech. If you have your own meditation going, please feel free to ignore my voice completely and do your thing. One thing is that we share this moment with intention of exploring our consciousness and awareness. If you're not used to sit, try to make yourself comfortable. There are more chairs, and there's one free in there. If so, you need to lay down, please feel free to move during the meditation. Just because everybody is still doesn't mean that you need to feel like that. So you can be as much relaxed and attent as you could. That's very important. So in general, the spine is going to be the main issue, because if your spine not straight, over time you're going to start building tension, and some muscles start compensating, and whether it drains your energy or you start feeling very uncomfortable. So the point of meditation is not to look like you're meditating. So feel free to do whatever adjustment you need to do in your body to make the most of your attention. Meditation is not something you really learn, it looks like. But what we are discussing, we're trying to reach out, is something that is already there. It belongs to you already. The fruition, the full completion of a state of full satisfaction, bliss, is already there. So it's not something you have to win. It's not something you really become better at. The challenging part in here is how to dismantle a lot of conditioning in our minds, in our perception habits, definitely the dialogues in our head, our regular thoughts. So it's not about trying to meditate. You cannot try to meditate. You cannot really do it. It's just a matter of speaking. Think about, instead of you're learning something new that you don't know, that you're not good at maybe, or that you just new to it, think about the other way around. You're just trying to reach the deepest point in your conscious awareness, where you are the most relaxed, the most comfortable, the most resting, the most you. So you don't need to try to change or improve. Techniques of meditation are really tricks for the mind, ways to compensate and to distract our beliefs and things like that. So you could right now just completely surrender to this moment and embrace the fruition, like the most advanced meditators, because it's already in you. That's why it's worth trying, especially in the very beginning of the meditation, to already be there. You're resting in clarity. So we're going to be doing some sort of experiment. It's like a game, an exploration of what's happening inside of you with intention of regaining freedom, especially from your own mind. Because if you can let go of your mind right now, effortlessly, you are already meditating. So although it's our nature to be peaceful and be perfectly fine at any given moment, most people, when sitting and trying to embrace that, will find a busy mind and a lot of involuntary activity inside of you. That's all right. First step is to notice that it's not really you. It's not the conscious you, because you're just trying to be still and quiet and resting. But there's this momentum. Thoughts will come, but you don't need to attend to them. You don't try to stop your thoughts. For a while, they were going to come due to all the activity. But now when you sit and consciously decide to stay resting in stillness, ask your mind, because it's yours. Ask your mind to rest. And most people will still feel that the voices in the head still coming most of the time. Maybe there are some gaps where they don't come, then just relax. Just let that silence sink. But if you're like most people, every few seconds at least your mind will come to try to convince you that you have to keep thinking to be here, to feel, to meditate. That's really not true. The question is, why are we distracting ourselves from the presence of this moment? Why you cannot just let go of the controlling thinking, just rest in the presence of this moment? Especially when you hear thoughts in your mind. Today we're going to be exploring the aspect of listening. Like in a conversation, when you listen, you don't talk. So just listen. Listen with curiosity to every sound as a direct experience without thinking. But again, don't try hard. If you try hard, you're going to miss it. It's about relaxation, openness. Make sure that your body is relaxed and comfortable at any given time. The breath flows without control on your part. Once your body is calm, your mind will tend to calm, and then you will be able to listen. Listen with curiosity to every detail of the sounds around you. Listen how the songs start and finish at some point. And how they change. Follow the appearance and disappearance of sounds around you. Feel at the same time all the sources of sounds, all the simultaneous events of sound. Located in space. Make sure that your body is relaxed, your breath flows easy, and don't fight with your mind. If it wants to think out of habit, it's okay. Just recognize you don't want to think now, you just want to listen. And relax your mind so you can listen. Relax your mind and listen with curiosity. Are the sounds high pitch, low pitch? Do they start suddenly and disappear softly? The other way around? Do they change their volume? Every sound is welcome. The more you listen, the less thinking there is, and a presence and aliveness, clarity and vividness start gently becoming your experience of this moment. You don't need to attach thoughts to sounds that you hear. Let the listening relax your mind deeper and deeper. It's very simple and effortless. If you catch yourself thinking, just relax and open. Go back to listening. Relax in the listening. You don't need to mentally elaborate anything right now. Thinking is not useful. Just immerse your perception, your attention, so you don't miss any sound. The more you relax, the bigger the gaps without mental activity. The more you listen, the more you relax. The more you relax, the more you listen. Effortless, pure attention. You don't need to react emotionally or mentally to any sound. All sounds are the same. It's just raw perceptual data. The relaxation and the calmness deepens and deepens. You don't have to do anything, actually. Perceiving this moment is completely effortless. You're never closing your ears. You're always noticing. Your brain is always picking up every sound. Just relax on that. It is happening anyway. Feel the space where the sound waves travel. Notice where the sound source is, appears and disappears. How the sound wave, like ripples, cover space of the room to get to your ears. Let your body relax more. Let your breathing be effortless and beyond control. Ignore your own mental chat. It is involuntary and right now even unnecessary. Relax your mind in the space where sound appears. You can't do this wrong because it's about not doing. So just relax, rest in the sound field. As you observe all the sounds at the same time, appearing and disappearing, notice the silence where they come from and the silence where all sounds go. Surrender your mind, surrender your body. And notice the silence where sounds disappear and where they come from. The silence is there before they appear and is there when they disappear. If you're so relaxed that you can notice the silence before and after the sounds, you will notice that the silence is also there while the sounds are happening. is a background silence from where every sound emerges and disappears. A choreography of sounds appearing and disappearing into silence. If you notice that silence, then drop all the sounds and just listen to the silence. With your body fully relaxed, let your mind melt into the silence. Just for a couple of minutes more. You don't need to think, you're just rest. Rest in the aliveness, the freshness of this very moment. The eternal present from where everything appears. Let go. Relax deeper. How much can you relax, surrender? How much can you relax and be fully present and aware, resting without thinking, in the vividness of silence? Now you can relax from meditating. So, I like to have a powerful statement from great teachers. This case from Nisargadatta, a real punk in spirituality. And he says, shift your attention from words to silence, and you will hear. At first, many people will find the sentence redundant. It's a sophisticated way of saying shut up. But there is a beautiful realization in what he's saying. In traditions like Christianity, people hear God talking to them, right? Or in different traditions with gods. Specifically in Christian tradition, you will hear the Holy Spirit, which is the emissary of God, talking to you. All saints and many people did things like that, based on that. And it seems that it's something unreachable, but the situation is that you have in yourself all the knowledge you could ever need to be perfectly at peace and happy. It's not like you need anyone to come and tell you about life or anything. The process that these sages are suggesting is one of undoing. And when you undo, in this case, the thinking process, and you start just listening, you may have noticed that in the very beginning for a while, because I'm pretty sure most of you didn't really ever explore this, but the very beginning, you just listen, like you will listen in a conversation, and you're already there. You're already not thinking, which is a huge accomplishment. You're paying attention. It feels strange and uncomfortable, but it's good. It's very healthy to listen to other people when they talk. But the same way, you can listen to life around you, and it's like your environment is having a conversation with you. It's a beautiful feeling. It's so overlooked, right? I like to be in this complicated, making up our world, but you just look around. In this case, you hear around. You notice that if you don't manipulate your perception, you just try to directly listen to things, life is pretty damn awesome already. The very beginning is just a gap, and out of habit your mind will, now you need to think. You need to think on how to do this. But you have a nature way beyond your mind. Your attention, at least your awareness, your consciousness is way deeper than your thinking mind. And that's a very important thing to understand practically, because it will give you all the freedom you ever dream of. So when you just switch your attention into listening, from talking to yourself nonstop, also with images, but in this case we're focusing on the aspect of the sound. Everybody here sounds of voices in their head, right? Just to state clearly, openly, that we are crazy just because don't say that out loud. If you do it, then lock that person. It's crazy. Well, never shuts up. Yeah, it is. It's just we don't notice, and that's why we lose our awareness when we fall asleep. It's just strange. That's why meditation is an invitation. Just dwell in there and go familiar to, at least like when you were a baby. It's layering in your experience way deeper than all these other things. So it is definitely accessible, but you'll need to. Meditation, sitting and trying to listen, is like writing a code. Your computer like, no, just don't. And it's not forceful or like you're forcing yourself not to think, but it's very natural when you pursue your mind to do it, to calm down, just chill. It's fine. Just let go. Yes. Depending on the day, your emotional state will be easier or very difficult. But eventually it's going to happen. It's your mind. It's like your hand. Eventually it's going to stop if you want to. So meditation is an invitation to do that, because otherwise our life is stimuli, action. You need more time management. You need an app, your phone, that tells you what you should be doing right now to do more, because that is happiness. Doing a lot of stuff. So our mind goes on that level. There is obviously no way of measuring that, how much people think, although you could see the movement in their eyes and certain movements in their bodies. But to some extent, we can certainly see how people are breathing double speed and double amount of volume of air than 100 years ago, which is a lot if you think in terms of our evolution, right? And it all, especially, is just going like crazy since internet, iPhone. Actually, I have actually an event coming up on this topic from some well-intentioned people, comes from the European, actually from the European community as a budget, trying to match the goals of sustainability of the UN, which is really ambitious. If you ever checked, probably you haven't, but the idea is, let's be humans, let's make this world better. Instead of, one of these things is mental health, and it's very much related to the lifestyle we're living. People don't know, but through these meetings, this is like the fifth one, I don't know, that I'm doing. I did a lot of research, and it's really fascinating. We don't know, but we are this constant pling, pling, is altering our mental state all the time in a way that is very unconscious. And if you would put it on the table, you will notice it's not good. And people sort of know. But the important thing is that any effort on letting go and just chill and sit, I always tell people, can you just, next time you get home, just go there, sit on the couch like she's sitting right now, and just do nothing. Not like I'm meditating and I'm doing nothing. No, like just sit, just do nothing. Like when you waste time, like when you're waiting, and just explore what happens. Most people will notice like, I'm gonna watch something on my phone. Or I'm gonna do dinner, or it's interesting, and it's so common that we just say it's just the way it is, but it's the way it should be, really. So very specifically, the soundscape, our mind, the sounds in our head, the voices in our head, which many of them are completely random from our conditioning. Is not, if you try to check your thoughts, which are a lot, estimated between 30 and 50,000 thoughts a day. So you're going to have a hard work trying to catch your thoughts. But if you really try to do it, you're going to start noticing that you just think random things all the time, and things that are not even your own thoughts, your conditioning. Hopefully that convinces you to, okay, maybe I should start just not caring so much about thinking. If you do so, if you dare to get out of matrix, out of the computer, and just experience this moment directly with your senses. It obviously can be done with sight and other, but we're talking specifically about hearing because it has this very useful switch. If you listen, you stop talking. That can be very, very useful to have in your toolbox of tricks. And when you start listening, if you explore this deeply, you start noticing your mind not only calms down, you just start perceiving a very vibrating sensation of being here and now. And it's very much related to the absence of your self-talk. And it's very natural. The only difficult thing in there is that we catch activity all the time. So it's just about, you cannot do it. So it's very natural relaxation. You relax. You let go of everything. You dare to let go of your addictions, of your phone, of our traumas, our fears that reinfuse this thinking to control the world, because you think if you stop thinking, suddenly your life will go wreck. Is that true? But still, that's just a layer. But this statement goes very, very deep, to the point that if you really dedicate time and honestly try to pursue, to listen to life, by listen I mean also perceiving life directly, effortlessly, with beyond your mind. Your mind is just doesn't matter. It's just like another sound in the room. You don't even need to stop it. It loses energy when you stop focusing on it. Then there is this silence. And we use the word silence because we don't have words to describe things we cannot perceive. So people talk about in meditation about emptiness, stillness, all these negating terms, but they don't mean it in a negative way. The experience of it feels more you, more vibrantly aware, more full of life than thinking. And in there, you notice that as if the sun will rise and suddenly illuminate the world in the morning. This silence, this presence comes out, and your mind starts becoming self-evident. Obviously it's not very energized, it's just like that. But you start seeing patterns of yourself, you start understanding yourself, but not yourself, everything around you. And that's the knowledge of the silence. That's our heritage as, I wouldn't say even human beings, we're more than that. We are awareness. And you will just know everything. You won't have any question about anything. Obviously, I'm talking about specific data-related things to yes, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about you just not suffering anymore because you just know everything. And by know everything, I mean in the same way that you probably give really good advice to someone else at some point, right? You probably have found yourself talking to someone and finding, oh, actually what I'm saying, it makes a lot of sense. I could actually do it too. Sort of in the same way, you find that you can teach yourself in this context. You can teach yourself back into fullness, into appreciation, into satisfaction, full satisfaction, into satisfaction and excitement of being alive. Like you see something simple and you're in wonder, like a baby, like, wow. If you catch yourself looking at something very ordinary that no one will ever pay attention to, and you kind of get some beauty out of it, some inspiration, you are relaxing your mind. So this silence, which is not really silent in the sense of no sound, but it's more the place, the non-perceivable, and it's obviously not a place. Place is a way of talking. Non-perceivable background of the sounds happening and appearing. You start suddenly, by observing all this dance of sounds over a long time, very cautiously, you start noticing they all appear and disappear on surface screen. Hope you get some. It's a very subtle observation, but it's definitely there for anyone who pursues this investigation. And this silence, you start noticing that is all the time everywhere. So this silence will, the more you nurture your attention into that background, the easier will be like, you can absolutely let go of your mind. You have this all pervasive, embracing silence that is deeper you than anything. So your mind is just a little tiny experience inside of that. So the silence is there when you're talking. The silence is there when you're thinking. So your thinking is completely effortless. And if you don't want to, don't think. I know for many people this sounds like something unnatural, that you have to train a lot of years to accomplish that yogic feat of not thinking. Sounds like that, but no, it's exactly the opposite. It is natural, it's more you. So you definitely gonna succeed at it if you try. Let's use time, although it's not another good, but our minds will accept that. If you try long enough, at some point you're gonna get there. But it is there, and it is joyful, and you will find yourself in the worst possible situation in your life, and you will feel that. And it's not that you will detach or you will not be able to manage the situation. Actually, the contrary. You'll be absolutely relaxed in the capacity of react from the best of your capacity. But you will be shocked that you feel great. You feel great in the sense of this, not this mind that's, oh my God, no, I lost my job. Oh my house burned. Oh, my beloved has left me for my best friend. I have that. My mother died a year and a half, something like that. Anything. The more life throws at you think, the more you notice that's the best you got. Flows. Your essence is naturally free and pleasant. You don't have to do anything. You need to be in a meditative state. It's just you are just daring to not be afraid and try. What happens is just let go of all your fears and all of your intention of controlling the world, which in translation is all these voices all the time like, no, don't see this, see that, don't see that. That's what words do, that, right? They're perceiving contrast. So don't listen to that person, listen to that person. Do this, don't do that. You know, it's so all the time masking something and trying to divert your attention all the time with the words in your head. Thought it's very important that you think, and you think a lot, because the smartest people in this world thought a lot. So if you don't think, you're stupid. Exactly the opposite. Actually, without going very deep, and hopefully most of you know what I'm talking about, the more you let go of your mind, the more your mind self-manage itself. You don't need to be feeding it with thoughts, negative thoughts, and all these things are... It's like a loop. You think, oh, this person should have said that. Oh, no, this shouldn't happen. This shouldn't happen. This shouldn't happen. It's just incredibly ineffective. And it makes you, most of the worrying, if I would say 100%, but it looks more reasonable if I say most of the worrying is actually not helping. Spending a night laying on your bed thinking about something you don't want to live on the next day, or all the things the worst they could go, that's plain stupid if you try to be practical about life. When people say, some people tell me, you're very positive. I never intended to be positive. I'm just trying to be practical in any given problem in your life. Just try to be practical. Why you would be thinking about that? Really, it's going to prepare you in case it goes wrong. Okay, that sounds logical, but is it really the case? Probably the line is the moment that it triggers your emotions of fear. That point, okay, that you've been too far. You're not really seeing all the angles so you can react the best. And more than that, all the great moments in life have a moment of silence. There's this silence that, as you probably guess by all this exploration and conversation, it's kind of difficult to perceive from our regular standing point. You really will have to try to be very fine in your perception to start noticing the background, right? But it's there. It happens. At some point, your mind relaxes. Like, I found my soulmate. I made love to this person. She loves me. She's gonna marry me. The magic trick was that for a second, you just relax. You start panicking. You start trying to control everything, and suddenly, this is the best moment of my life because my beloved person is beside me. Is it really? I don't know. I'm not saying believe me. I'm saying let's explore it. I'm really open to anyone saying what you're saying is not my experience. But probably you haven't never really thought about that when you're having a good moment, it is not the things that are really giving you that good moment. It's kind of challenging psychologically for us to think in that terms, right? Because you feel happy because things go good, you got the stuff, things you don't have the stuff, things go bad, you feel bad. But we all know that's not exactly true. Sometimes you're living a really challenging time in your life and you're super excited and motivated. And sometimes you have everything you could ever need. You feel like crap. So it definitely obviously is not like that. So it's related to your thinking. Or to thinking at all. Who are you if you're not thinking? So many people, you kind of feel fear when you stop thinking for a while. Your mind wants to, hey, I'm here. Hello, 1, 2, 3. Hello. Just to make sure that you're still there, right? Because it feels kind of, it's too intense. It's too much. Psychologically, it's like, no, let's touch ground. Start worrying about something, or your mind start talking about. At some point, you notice that and say, like, what happened if I really let go? And then you start noticing that. Yes, it feels like you're jumping in emptiness and darkness, and yes, it feels like you're falling, like your gravity senses are saying, bad problem, I'm falling into chaos. But you just notice that you're actually not falling, you're actually flying. So at some point you notice, wow, no, this is amazing, you're flying. Anyway, there's one last thing. Yesterday on my YouTube suggestions appear a conversation with a physicist that I'm kind of following for a while, but is one of the smartest guy on earth right now. As a physicist, he was having a conversation with a psychologist, and he was trying to explain to all of us in the sense that nobody really understands what he says. So he's like, you can see the guy, an old man, but like saying, I'm saying again, never refuting him with what he says, because never really understands what he's saying. And his point is a mathematician, really, really good. And his point is that by his observations on physics and mathematics, he noticed that consciousness, it is computational, but it's also not computational. So understanding actually happens without computing any data. I know. You may think, what does that mean? It means that when we do meditation, that silence, that understanding, the moment when you say, aha, all your creative moments, when you get the solutions to everything, actually, where do they come from? Do they really come from a logical thinking? Well, some ground analytics may pave, but it doesn't really get you to the solution. The solution comes from, where did I get an idea? You have a creative job, you definitely know what I'm talking about. It just comes.
I think it's called diffuse mode of thinking. There's two modes of thinking. Deliberate thinking, where you think logical actions for an outcome. And then there's the second mode, where it comes to you intuitively.
Yeah.
Or for example, imagine that you're cooking a meal and you've been cooking for 10 years and you know exactly what to do. Like, it comes to you naturally. In comparison to someone who's just started cooking and has to follow a recipe and everything has to be logical.
Yeah, absolutely. But the interesting point this guy was making, that it really crosses our kind of common understanding. What you're saying, it's very meaningful in the context, but what he was saying is that these thoughts, where we consider data, oh, this is a thought, that's an information, this is an action that I'm going to take, come from a place where there is no data. That's what he's pointing, which I know it's kind of difficult to grasp. I'm not expecting you to grasp. I said, this couldn't be a coincidence that I go through this conversation right before I printed this yesterday, right before we're going to be talking about silence. And it's kind of interesting and a bit punk, like this guy. So your ideas come from nowhere, from nothing. I say this in the way of trying to suggest that the investigation of that is more than emptiness. Like, oh, if I'm not going to be thinking, then I'm going to become stupid or not going to know what to do, about things I need to do. But not really. That's what all these wise people are suggesting, that the mechanisms happening are more complex, subtle, and there is only good news. You're already there. So you don't need to get there. You just need to, as someone said, summarize a meditation. Get over yourself. Just sit in there and just ignore that thoughts. Not in a denial way that you're denying yourself, no, just in a way that what happens if you just for a few minutes just get out of yourself. Just buy yourself the allowance to rest. I hope all this was of any value to you in your personal adventure. And I'm very thankful for all of you to come here today to share this moment with me. And I hope this stays with you in a way, this exploration, which is nothing new, definitely, and yet something such a revolution, right? To try to practically integrate it in your life. And I hope it brings a lot of peace to your days, to your nights,